Hey there YouTube, welcome back to another comic book video. We are going to continue our coverage over Donny Crates Thor, and we pick up with Volume 2, except Volume 2 does contain issues number 7 through 14, but we're only going to cover the first storyline in the book, which is issues number 7 through 8. And this is Donny Crates continuing the idea that right now, something big is coming for Thor that involves Thanos. He saw this from the Black Winter, this cosmic being who showed him his end. What is going to be his end, his death. And of course, he saw Thanos. Either way, he is scared of that coming, but also it seems like he's no longer worthy of his hammer. And that is a problem because Thor is now king of Asgard and he should not be having this problem, which means he is no longer worthy again, or something is wrong with the hammer now. And of course, the question is, which one is it? And so to get into today's storyline, we actually do pick up in Braxton, Oklahoma. Now, if you're a longtime Thor fan or maybe a Siege fan, you already know what is the big deal when it comes to Braxton, Oklahoma. Because when Thor came back to life after Ragnarok, he did give us New Asgard, except New Asgard was right next to Braxton, Oklahoma, this small town in Oklahoma. And of course, that town went through so much because of that. Now, after he had left, he technically has not been back there for a very long time in Marvel Comics. And so right now, this is technically a callback to the idea of him being in Braxton once again. Now, we do pick up right now with a character known as Adam. And you have Adam right now just doing his job because technically in the city, he's just your regular mechanic. Now, here's the thing though, because while you have Adam right now working on a certain car, well, that is the moment you have Thor's hammer crash into Braxton, but right next to Adam. And Adam knows, oh my God, this hammer belongs to Thor. Are we about to have more problems in this city because of him? Why in the world is his hammer here? But then he sees a message on the hammer to call a certain person. But then we jump over to Lady Sif. Now remember, Lady Sif at this point in Marvel Comics, she is technically the guardian of the Bifrost. She's right now the new Heimdall for Asgard. Now with that being said, with her being the new Heimdall or the new protector of the Bifrost, she does see everything across all different realms in Marvel Comics. And so of course right now, she's kind of asking Thor, why in the world did you send your hammer down to Braxton, Oklahoma? And why in the world did you write that certain number on the hammer? Like, what are you trying to do? Now, when it comes to Lady Sif, she has no idea that right now Thor is having some problems with his hammer. Now, Loki does know that because Loki caught it earlier in Volume 1, where he saw Thor having a somewhat hard time actually picking up the hammer, but no one else saw that. And so when it comes to Sif, she's kind of like, why in the world did you send your hammer back down to Earth, but of course Braxton, Oklahoma? And you have Thor say, listen, it's just me right now having some fun, but listen, I have to go right now because I have a meeting with someone very important. And of course we're gonna find out he has this meeting with, and that would be Beta Ray Bill. Now when it comes to Beta Ray Bill, the reason why technically you have Thor meeting up with Beta Ray Bill is because what happened back in Volume 1. Because back in Volume 1 for Donny Crates, you had Thor fight against Beta Ray Bill because Thor was working alongside with Galactus at first, which means that he had to protect Galactus. But when it comes to Beta Ray Bill, Beta wanted to kill off Galactus because Galactus did destroy his home world. But the thing is, Thor had to protect Galactus to get Galactus' help to fight against the Black Winter. And so it did lead into a big battle between the two characters, but it did end up with Thor winning that battle, but getting rid of Stormbreaker by actually breaking Stormbreaker. And that was huge. And the reason why, because these two guys, they were technically like brothers. They were very close. But again, when it came to Beta Ray Bill, he truly believed that he was still on level with Thor. But the thing is, he's no longer on level with Thor because Thor is now the king of Asgard. He has so much more power now. They're no longer on the same level. Now, with that being said though, this is Thor right now trying to make amends with Beta Ray Bill, but at the same time asking for his help about the idea of Thanos. Because at this moment in Marvel Comics, to Thor's eyes, or his ears, sorry, not his eyes, to his ears, he heard that Thanos is dead. And so right now, he's very worried about the idea of Thanos coming back and basically killing him off. But then we jump back over to Braxton, Oklahoma. Now, when we do jump back over to Braxton, Oklahoma, we do pick up with Adam once again, and we kind of find out what number he had. It was actually Tony Stark's personal line. So Thor right now is being a jerk back to Iron Man. Now, the reason why he is being a jerk, because back in Volume 1, Thor did send his hammer down to Earth to help the Avengers fight against a powerful being. But right before Thor was able to recall his hammer, you had Iron Man write something on Thor's hammer. And so this is Thor right now just getting payback. And of course, you have Tony right now very upset about the idea of Thor writing down his personal phone number for almost anybody to get, and of course call up Tony just like that. And so this is right now Tony being very upset, but now wondering why in the world did Thor send his hammer back down to Braxton, Oklahoma. But then we jump back over to Thor and also Beta Ray Bill. Now when we do, this is technically right now Thor telling Beta Ray Bill that he's actually very worried about the idea of Thanos coming back to life. Now, you have Beta Ray Bill tell Thor, listen, you do not have to worry about that. And the reason why, because I made sure there was no way he'll be able to come back, because you have Beta Ray Bill tell Thor about the idea of Hela trying to bring Thanos back to life. But apparently Beta Ray Bill was able to actually stop that. Now, of course, we all know when it comes to Thanos, you never truly win against him. That you may believe that he is dead, or you may believe that he's gone for now, but he always finds a way back, which means that sooner or later he will be back. And of course, he might kill off Thor at the end of his return. And so right now, it's Thor saying, I need your help because Thanos might come back. And I want to make sure we're ready. And I also want to make sure that you have a weapon to replace Stormbreaker, because technically I did break Stormbreaker. Now, he does show Beta Ray Bill a bunch of different weapons that he could choose from. But then you have Beta realize that something is missing. The hammer of Thor. He's like, hey Thor, where's your hammer at? Like, matter of fact, where in the world is it? It should be always next to you. And of course, we know it's right now down in Oklahoma. But then we shift our focus back over to Braxton, Oklahoma. Now, when we do see Iron Man Adam right now kind of expecting the hammer, looking over it, trying to figure out why in the world did Thor send the hammer down to Earth. Now, Iron Man does put a force field around the hammer and Adam and him to kind of keep other people away. But at the same time, though, you have Iron Man right now very confused about the idea of why Thor did that. But while we're focusing on Iron Man and also Adam, you have Thor still talking to Beta Ray Bill and telling Beta, listen, what happened was the hammer, I feel like I'm no longer worthy for it again. I am unworthy for my hammer once again, because ever since I took the throne, it began to feel heavier to me. But here's the problem though. For other people, it got a whole lot lighter, meaning that there are more people out there who are more worthy than Thor who could actually pick up the hammer. Now, with that being said, while you have Thor actually telling Beta Ray Bill all of that, back on Earth in Braxton, Oklahoma, you have Adam being able to pick up the hammer because Thor put another message on the hammer to see if anybody could be worthy for the hammer. And as soon as he wrote that message, Adam grabbed the hammer and he was able to pick up the hammer and became worthy. And so he became the Thor of Braxton, Oklahoma. And so when we jump into the second chapter of this storyline, we actually do pick up with a new concept with the idea that there is this book. And when it comes to this book, apparently this book holds a lot of different stories that Asgard has gone through. Now, with that being said though, this book is so special that you had young boys who were technically destined to become kings tried to read the book to see all the different kind of stories it actually contains. Now here's the thing though, because every single young boy that was destined to become king down the road that tried to read the book, unfortunately couldn't read the book. And the reason why, because to be able to actually read the book, you had to be king. And so when it came to Thor, when he was a young boy, he was unable to actually read the book. But once he became king, he was able to read the different stories about the ideal things Asgard has gone through. But at the same time, he also read different chapters that Asgard could still go through in the near future. And some things he haven't read yet because he has not been able to get into that deep of the book yet. And so, of course, there are some things in the book that warn current kings what could come down the road for Asgard in the near future. And so then we jump back over to the present day. Now, when we do jump over to the present day, we actually do pick up right now, technically with Iron Man trying to get the hammer away from the people of Braxton, Oklahoma, but especially Adam. Now, with that being said, Iron Man is having a hard time doing that because you do have a crowd of people who want to know more about the idea of Adam right now being the Thor of Braxton, Oklahoma. Now, of course, that is the moment where you do have Thor arrive. Now, when Thor does arrive, this is him right now saying, you know what? I have seen enough, and now I know more about what in the world is going on with my hammer. Now, honestly, he hasn't learned everything yet, but he did learn a little bit more about the idea of what's going on right now with his hammer. But either way, it's him right now saying, you know what? Let me go ahead and take the hammer back from you now, Adam. Now, Adam is about to give the hammer back over to Thor. The problem is, though, you have Iron Man step in, because when Iron Man steps in, it's right now him showing how angry he is. Because right now it's Iron Man saying, Thor, you did not think things through once again. You sent your hammer down to Braxton, Oklahoma to let anyone be able to actually pick up the hammer, which could have caused more problems. But on top of that, you gave the world or some random person my personal number. Like, dude, that right there is not okay. And so right now it's Iron Man saying, I want some answers right now. What in the world is going on? Now, of course, you have Thor say, I do not answer to you, bro. Like, if I want to do something, I can do it without your permission. And that right there technically ticks off Iron Man. Now, here's the thing though, because when Adam was about to give the hammer over to Thor, Iron Man stepped in and grabbed the hammer and then began to give his long speech towards Thor. But here's the thing, Iron Man is able to hold the hammer of Thor. And so right now as Thor is saying, Iron Man is able to actually hold my hammer and use my hammer and move my hammer. That right there is very interesting. But that at the same time is the moment where you have Iron Man use Thor's hammer and smacks Thor right in the face. Now that is actually a huge mistake by Iron Man, because even though Iron Man truly believes that he's able to take on different people in the Marvel Universe, when it comes to Thor, you have to realize if you do not actually prepare for Thor, you're gonna get hurt. And so right now it's Thor saying, listen very carefully, Iron Man, because the last time you saw me, yeah, you know what? I was probably not as strong as I was, but I was still able to beat you down. But here's the thing now, bro. You see, I am the All-Father of Asgard. I'm more powerful than I was last time, which means right now, technically, if I wanted to, I could beat you down just like that, because I'm a god. But I'm a more powerful god than I was last time. And you right now, just a 10-man, standing in the middle of a lightning storm. So if I was you, I would step down right now and give me my hammer back. And you have Iron Man say, yep, you know what, you're right, bro. Here you go. Here's the hammer. Take it. We're good. I'm sorry. I messed up. Listen, I'll go ahead and back off now. Now, once you have Iron Man realize that technically he had messed up, you did have Iron Man try to give Thor some good advice in saying, listen, man, you and I and other heroes, we have been doing this for a very long time. But maybe what you need right now is to take a weekend off. Relax. ease your mind a tad bit. Now, this right here is going to be replaying in the mind of Thor for a good period of time, because right now is Thor saying, maybe that's what I need to make sure I'm still worthy for my hammer. Take a break, relax, take a couple hours, days off to just refresh the mind a tad bit. Either way, you do have Iron Man leave, and then you have Thor say, okay, now it's time for me to handle another problem, which is Adam. And technically, when it comes to Adam, Adam is not a problem, because Adam was just a guy who just picked up the hammer of Thor because Thor said on the hammer, hey, pick me up. And of course, you had Adam pick up the hammer. But right now, the story's kind of saying, when it comes to Adam, Adam was just your regular guy. Now, at first, he was an ex-convict, but after prison, he was able to get on the right path to make sure he did the good things rather than the bad things. Now, with that being said, Adam right now is going to be that guy where it's him saying, look at me, I was just a regular guy. And with me being a regular guy, when I got the power of Thor, it threw me for a loop. But at the same time, understand that even though you have all that power as a god, it's okay to technically be a regular guy sometimes as well. Now, the reason why I'm saying that, because once you have Thor being able to kind of give Adam a few more hours to be the Thor of Braxton, Oklahoma, and then at the end of it, when you have Thor take the power away from Adam, it's kind of Thor realizing what Tony Stark said and also what Adam said as well. To basically take a break from being Thor, take a break from being the king of Asgard. But at the same time, with you being a god, it's hard to take a break. So why not be someone who's not a god? And so that is the moment where you have Thor begin the process of thinking of taking that vacation, but not as Thor, as someone else. And of course, that would be Donald Blake. And so it's Thor saying, let me use my other personality as a way to take a break from being the king of Asgard to hopefully refresh my mind and to hopefully be worthy for my hammer once again. But this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, I'll see y'all next time. Later.